So we'll give it a couple of minutes extra at the end. I'll warn you with 5 minutes ago.
Well, I'm going to crack through this fairly quickly because there's far too many slides. And not enough time. So any questions and answers, could you hold them until the point in the presentation where it's appropriate? Moving on. Just to say that these things will get published somewhere on the internet eventually, so don't worry about writing anything down if you don't want to. That's me. Quick outline, all about program management and enterprise architecture. Uses public open references, so there's nothing proprietary in here, everything is free and open. Look at the commonalities and the synergies between the disciplines. I believe they're highly complementary and ought to be used together. So there you go. 3 parts. First, a quick rundown of program management. Second, an overview of enterprise architecture. And then into the meat of the stuff. So program management in 5 slides. Here we go. Definitions, straight out of the MSP book. A couple of things I want to point out here. Dossier of projects and other transformation activities. So if you're doing some transformation change, you should perhaps be using program management. Coordinated direction implementation. Strategic importance to the business. In terms of a process, again, straight out of the MSP book, I'd like to split it up into the 2 different sides of program management. The left-hand side is really the sort of bit that interfaces with strategy, and that's all about deciding what you're going to do to change your business. Organisations, when I say business, I mean business in the larger sense, including public sector organisations, charities, whatever, it doesn't matter. And the right-hand side is actually delivering something, so that's delivering change in your business. And the important thing there is it's all about a kind of governance activity. It's managing the tranches of change activity that's going on in your business across your portfolio of projects. Moving on. Defines 7 principles. And I think maybe you can already see some of the echoes and commonalities with enterprise architecture. Strategic alignment. Adding value is an interesting one. MSP says if as a layer of management above and beyond projects, if it's not adding value, then don't do it that way. Run it as a big project if it's not adding value. So very much different from normal methodologies. It doesn't assert its own usage. It says if it's no value, don't do it. And adaptive, so learn from experience. Defines 8 strategies, and the intention is that these should be produced in documents that say how we're going to go about doing stuff in our programs. Resource management, obviously. Information management. Risk management, quite a big thing. Issues we're about. Stakeholder engagement, and an important principle, a strategy for MSP is benefits management. So it's all about making sure that whatever you do in your programs and projects, make sure you're going to get some benefits from it. It's going to add value to your organisation and develop some capability that's of strategic importance. And I don't know why they do it this way, but they do this 7, 8, 9 pattern. Governance themes, which is how you make sure programs are running well. So these are the dimensions of really evaluation as to how the program is supposed to be doing what it's doing. Just point out blueprint design and delivery. So I think that's the closest tie to enterprise architecture. So we've got these 7 principles, 8 strategies, and 9 governance themes used for evaluation of the programs as they go along. Important point. Program management is not the same thing as project management. Program deals with outcomes, creates benefits, and it's of strategic relevance. So it's not concerned with every little project that your organisation might get involved with. Projects all about outputs, deliverables, within time, cost and quality constraints, and that's it really. That is a fundamental difference between programme management as a higher level of resource management within your corporate control framework, compared with project management, which is down there in the weeds, making sure that people deliver what they're supposed to deliver. And of course, you can put those on the timeline. Projects are down here at the short end, and programmes can go on for really quite a long time. That said, it's a bit like the old philosophical ship. Programmes can and do change over time. So is it the same programme 3 years hence? Well, that's really a moot point. Programmes will also have all these sort of qualities. So they kind of are less well defined in terms of work packages and deliverables and outputs than projects. And that means they're altogether fuzzier, they're much greyer. And because it's a flexible organisation, and it required to adapt and change itself as the development of the programme goes along, it's also adaptive. So fuzzy and adaptive, not the same thing as project management. And this comes from mostly NSB, but with a bit of extra stuff from what used to be the business innovation and skills department of government, which is now BEIS, and they put energy in there as well. So that is key messages from that bit. It's a higher level of management. It's not at the same level as projects, and it's all about making sure that projects do the right things. And it's part of the whole mechanism for your corporate control to make sure that the business gets the best use out of its resources, including knowledge, skills, culture, not just money, not just money and time. And programs are generally based on the blueprint and the program brief, which are kind of documents that set out what it is in big strategic terms that the program is intended to do. Programs try not to get into the details of that sort of thing, so they don't go down to specifying individual bits of software and such like that. They tend to stay at the higher level and stick to what it is, what change the program is trying to make in the business at the strategic level. So, your turn to talk. Questions and answers. If there are none, I'll be very pleased.
Very quickly, difference between portfolio versus program.
Portfolio is another level higher still, and kind of looks across all the programs and the business as usual activities in your operations of your business. So
portfolio is includes what's running now as well as what's intended to be happening.
Absolutely. So programs are more oriented towards change and do that through a bunch of projects, whereas portfolio is really the entire business. Change.
Thank you. That was a good question.
Where does demand management sit within this sort of world?
Again, I think demand management sits more at the strategic level, so above programs. So that's one of the things that needs to feed into programs as kind of a fixed principle, feeding into your blueprint design, I suppose. Right, so if that's it then, move on. Quick summary of enterprise architecture, and again, I wanted to base this on open public sources, so nothing proprietary in here. My favourite at the moment, at least, is that one. A couple of professors from the Systems Engineering Department at MIT, or Systems Research Centre, whatever it is they call it. They're academics, but they're also practitioners. Scott Bernard's famous book, which I hope you're all familiar with, and TOGAF, and those of you who don't like TOGAF, well, I'm with you, but don't worry about it. I know there's some of those, and they all define their own frameworks. So, let's not get overly philosophical and disputatious about frameworks. Take bits from wherever. So that definition, straight out of Scott Bernard's book, and puts a bit more meat around it. The one thing, the aim is improving the performance of enterprises. It's not about delivering IT systems, it's about improving the performance of enterprises, whatever that means. It requires an holistic and integrated view of their strategic direction, business practices, information flows and technology resources. So it implies all the things that you usually know, but it's ultimately about delivering performance improvement in enterprises. And they do one of those crappy little equations that is what it is. Quick look at the areas framework. They don't give any meaning to R, but I think R really means realistic. And they suggest that it's a way of looking at the enterprises through 10 lenses, because they're academics. And those are their 10 lenses. And what I particularly like is putting the organisation, the processes, structures and knowledge in the middle, at the heart of it. I think that's, and knowledge. Most enterprise architecture frameworks don't include anything like the knowledge of the business, which is madness. They put infrastructure around it, of course. Information environment, which spans more than just the internal information environment, it also means information in the context. I think mentioned stakeholders in the wider ecosystem, so that gets you into business canvas model territory and all that stuff. So, as a framework, really quite nice way of looking at things. As a process model, so that's really a content model. As a process model, you can see the echoes with TOGAF and other such techniques. I like the analysis and synthesis sides of that whole cyclic process, and the holistic vision down there underpinning everything. Moving on, because we've not got a lot of time, Scott Bernard's three-dimensional model enterprise architecture, very much focused on the description, and Scott Bernard thinks in terms of documents doing the description. I think it's a bit out of date. I think you need to think in terms of software models these days. It is what it is, and you can see the echoes with Zachman and all that stuff. Perfectly good. Defines it in terms of those elements. He calls them design elements, but they're sort of aspects of the enterprise that you want to consider in your enterprise architecture efforts. And in terms of a process model, that's about as near as he gets. And notice he puts program plans right down there as a sort of driver of change, and the capabilities focus. So it's about changing the capabilities of the enterprise from as is to be future. So all very good. And in terms of threads, security, standards, skills, all the other things that people have to add into frameworks after they've done the B-A-I-T thing. So that's Scott Bernard's overall framework. This is his model for aligning the resource allocations in the enterprise through to the strategic goals that he's trying to achieve. And you see a bunch of projects formulated into program groups, which may be one or more programs, aligned to the, he aligns it to the line of business, which is in enterprise architecture speak a segment or part of the enterprise. It could be an individual business unit, strategic business unit even, or it could be a smaller segment, but some segment of the business. And then those are bolted into the enterprise-wide strategic initiatives. So you may have your finance and your marketing department working together on a new product development or something like that within these things. And that will be the line of flowing through down into projects. TOGAF, it is what it is. Perfectly good architecture description model and process model. Usual things to say about that. The arrows are all one way and they should be both ways. The iterations are all over the place, not just those four. Yeah, you all know the critiques of TOGAF, so I'm not going to bore you with those. Alright, so that's enterprise architecture in a very brief nutshell. Key points: strategy to delivery. It's got to be top to bottom, all the way. Strategic change through to actually delivering on the ground. Because if you don't actually deliver anything, you're not actually adding any value. Holistic models, yeah, of course. enterprise ecosystem or context for your enterprise, really quite important. Systematic. It's not just making it up as you go along. It's following some sort of process or method. So it's a methodological approach. And it's about improving enterprise capabilities. And it has a role in strategic planning. You can't do your strategy without knowing your architecture, and you can't do your architecture without knowing your strategy. The two things are implicitly interlinked. If you're struggling without one or the other, then well, you're going to have trouble. And maybe you should have a word with your senior management team. Right. Questions and answers.
To pick up on your comment about from strategy to delivery, because I always understood that enterprise architects hand off for the implementation phase, they become more governors.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes, I'd go along with that, yeah. So you're not actually doing the doing, you're ensuring that the doers are doing the right thing. Does that make sense?
Maybe a slightly naive question, but where do you see the boundary between enterprise architecture and industrial automation in a manufacturing type of context?
Oh, that's a very good question, and it takes a lot more time than I've got today. In summary, I think everything is changing with the whole industrial Internet of Things and the Industry 4 stuff that's coming along. It's all getting a lot more fuzzier and a lot more indistinct. So let's have another talk about that another time.
I don't know if you will have a part 3 where you will be combining.
Coming up.
But otherwise, question would emerge which is more strategic, because okay, programs have this strategic perspective in regard to projects, but enterprise architecture is the means to deliver this strategy.
So the essence of the whole presentation is that they're both in parallel and side by side and ideally integrated. So the question of which is the more strategic is a bit moot. They both are.
They're both.
Both.
But usually enterprises see what one of these functions to deliver a strategy, either the one or the other. So
no, both of them.
It's challenging to combine them.
It is a challenging.
It's either the enterprise architect that will deliver the IT strategy, or the program management board. So it's either. So they do not see this.
No, I don't accept the premise of the question. It's not disjunctive like that. They both have to work together. In fact, neither of them on their own will deliver the strategy. They both have to work together if they're going to be effective in delivering the strategy.
You might have to work together, but MSP is quite an embedded philosophy in businesses.
It is.
And architecture, then you're trying to stand up a discipline which is also looks like it's
Depending
not
on
complementary. So there's a challenge there. You can't just
there is
assume that they both work together.
Absolutely,
To find a place.
and developing an enterprise architecture practice can be either helped or hindered by an existing program management practice, or vice versa. Actually, it could go either way around. And the two things is that they are distinct, but they are complementary, I think. One more quick.
The way strategy concept is changing, right? It used to be 10 years of strategy, 5 years, 3 years, now 18 months. How do you see it going in the future? Because if you are saying EA cannot exist without strategy, or strategy cannot exist without EA, how is that going to work?
So I don't accept the premise that strategy is a period of formulation that you do once every 10 years or something like that. I think it's an ongoing, continuous conversation that goes on throughout the enterprise as a whole, all the time. And I think that reality is actually going to be forced onto strategic management groups, whether they like it or not, because things like technology cycles are getting that much shorter, because enterprise change is that much more important. So I don't accept the sort of timescales linked to people doing stuff. And indeed, some organisations these days are astrategic for precisely that reason. They don't want a bit of shelfware that doesn't mean anything to anybody anymore.
But in general, project management is considered tactical, not strategic. And program is a question, but project is considered tactical.
Project is definitely technical. Program can be anywhere. we can talk in terms of very projects. Anyway, if you don't mind, I'd like to move on right now. So, quick definition of governance. Sorry for the big block of text, but well, that's quite a good definition of governance. And it's in one of the things that's relevant about it is the breadth of it. So internal structures and systems within the enterprise for control and management, strategic development of the business. Kind of echoes all the things that we've just been saying. Organisation and information technological aspects. So Jan Hoogevest is one of the good guys who very much persuade us that in order to govern strategic change in the enterprise, you do need something like enterprise architecture. This is Martin Opland's view, and he acknowledges that there are lots of disciplines within the enterprise that they use to manage both resources and activities, and he focuses on those that govern the transformation process and picks out those three in particular and suggests that that's the relationship between them, which is something I go along with. And this is straight out of Scott Bernard's book, and I think it's fairly self-explanatory, really. Like strategic planning and enterprise architecture, program management. It's quite interesting to see the other bits: capital investment planning, yeah. Knowledge management, yeah. Workforce planning, skills management, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, because it's going to work without.
You could even put culture in there as well. Yeah.
Quite, but yeah.
See where I'm going? And the TOGAF. This is straight out the TOGAF, but there's a few things we need to tweak to make this work.
Particularly it's not under the CIO.
Sorry?
Particularly it should not be under the CIO.
Funny you should say that, I'll come to that in a minute. So not domains, please. Nobody gives much care about information technology applications. It's all about segments of the business. So don't think about it in terms of technical domains. Not developers plan. It's not implement. It's implement to change. It's not deploy. It's operate. The operations come under your operates tower, if you like. And it's not the program management office, it's program management as a whole. And it's not the CIO and CTO, it's the senior management team. And it's not service management, it's operation management, which may include service management, but it's bigger than just IT service management. And there is a dotted line going that way, and there's more than just risk management going on.
I was just doing a review of Focus Group's HERA, the healthcare reference architecture, and the thing that was missing, and it's also missing here, is end of lifetime. How you manage migration,
Yeah.
but technology it's not just operate, it's actually an architectural issue.
Well, I think operate includes decommission. So
We'll talk
talk
issue as much.
we'll talk about that offline because I haven't got time to talk
Sure,
about
but
it.
just saying it's an interesting one to consider.
Absolutely.
It's repeated in HERA.
It's full
Yeah.
life scale. Yeah, from initial commissioning through to decommissioning right at the end, and looking at a strategic perspective. Anybody remember what 9 governance themes are? There they are. The reason I put them up there again is because I'm just going to take a quick look at how those go through. So this is how, what that's about is this strategic conversation going on across through the senior management team down to the programme. The programme board has a senior responsible owner, programme director, manager. The resources for the programmes come from the business, so they're out there doing stuff in the business, including business as usual operations. And these business change managers have a dotted line reporting back to the individual business units to which they belong. And the program architect has a dotted line back to the enterprise architecture organisation. That brings you down to the project execs who manage a bunch of projects. And each and every project has a project manager and a solutioner. solution architect. Yeah. What goes down is project briefs and budgets, and what comes up is reports about how they're getting on. And the whole thing operates on the basis of a whole bunch of resources available within the enterprise. Program vision. That's MSP's definition and criteria for a good vision. And that's Aries' definition of what the vision looks like, and these are the techniques that they use for generating the vision, including stories, vignettes, scenarios, narratives. We know that, don't we, Tom? EA3's thing. Oh, and look, they use SWOT analysis, strategic statements, mission statements, ConOps, concepts of operations, and that's TOGAF. That's program vision, and within the program context, the governance is all about ensuring that that vision is played through the program. Stakeholders. This is a quick analysis of how the various methodologies treat their stakeholders, analyse their stakeholders, and Aries has this concept of how urgency and urgency. A quick note to say, in terms of governance, there's various styles, and you can go from an extremely sort of controlling style to more of a loose participative style. One of the lessons from program management, the key way to make it fail is to try and be overly controlling. Run programmatic projects, you're almost guaranteed it's going to fail. Aries in particular works this through into, well, Aries and MSP work this through into stakeholder communications, so it's all about making sure that there's the flow of information and messages back to the stakeholder groups that are involved in each program. And those are the sort of elements of a successful comms strategy. Cost, risks and benefits. Benefits are always underplayed, never analysed enough. This benefits context model comes out of that book, Strategic Planning for Information Systems, by John Ward and Joe Pepper. Benefits dependency map, central technique, working through what the IT changes are going to be, through all the way through into the business benefits that occur from the result of doing that. Just the exercise of constructing that benefits map kind of ties down what the projects are doing and why they're doing it and whether it actually makes sense. There's a deliberate mistake in there, but don't worry about it. But typical cost-benefit profile for a project kind of looks like that. And all the benefits are downstream, so projects are a whole bunch of cost and not a lot of benefit, which is great, except you can't stand still, so you need to change stuff. So you need to do projects. So the question is, where do you put your money? According to MSP, majorly the responsibility of the business change managers. So they're driving changes in their business that's supposed to realise the benefits. I'm conscious we're running out of time. Blueprint definition. The way it's supposed to work, you start from your vision, drive through into a blueprint, which then gets driven through into some program plans. And the essence of the blueprint is a gap analysis between the as-is and the to-be. So I think you can see that already there's a bit of a resonance going on with enterprise architecture there. Elements of the blueprint are compared in the as-is state, which include processes, technology, blah, 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 with how they're supposed to be, and it's a common technique. So the bottom line of all that is MSP-style blueprinting really is just enterprise architecture. And if you're clever, you can align your strategic state changes to your transitional architectures and to your epoch and era analysis, if you do such clever stuff. A lot of people don't. So that's potty. Processes and organisation are just an extract from your business architecture. And technology is technology. And notice it's not just IT. One of the good things about MSP is that you move your factory from Sunderland to Manchester. That's a technology change. It's not just about the IT, it's not just about computers and networks. And information, of course. And IS is not the same thing as IT either. Every business, every enterprise has information systems. The bottom line again is the blueprint is just an extract from the enterprise architecture model description, whatever you want to call it. So that's kind of what a program plan looks like. And each of the little blue arrows is a project plan. So there's a whole bunch of tranches as to what changes happen. So there's the program plans, and it's the same thing, pretty much, as an enterprise architecture roadmap. And the governance is periodic evaluation of the projects using some technique like reg analysis, status. Two halves, you've got the program side and the EA side, and that's looking at time, effort, and money, standard stuff, versus the plans and budgets you started with. You have to manage against the baseline. Whereas the EA side is looking at capability and operations versus the strategies and architectures. Again, one forms a baseline for evaluating and changes the other. Those are the dimensions of your strategies and architectures, and strategic fit goes from strongly positive down to strongly negative. You've got to be a bit mad if you're doing programs that are strongly negative strategic fit. The overriding question of all this stuff is, does the business case remain valid? If it doesn't, the questions are, what can you do about it? And basically, you only have a limited set of responses. And the nuclear option is just to cancel something, cancel projects. Yeah. Business case part 2. It's really a balance. Just want to point out a quick thing here. Doing new things, doing some things differently, stop doing things that you're doing. Those are the sort of drivers of the benefits, and then that's how you quantify them, or try to quantify them. And those, on the cost side, those are the different costs that you need to take into account. Net present value, does it all make sense economically? If it doesn't, don't do it. i.e., if NPV is less than 0, don't do it. And the review process is really asking and answering those questions. The question is, if you bring in the flexibility of program management, have we really developed a real options investment plan here? 2 more slides. So this is all about risk and issue management. EWIs is early warning indicators, and this is how risks and risks aggregate up. Different bunch of categories, different levels of risk, all done through a risk register. There is a process. Every risk just has an action only. Sorry, an actionee and an owner, and results in contingency plans. Again, there are a limited number of responses. Management and risk is kind of the Bible on that. Issue register and the process for dealing with issues. But that really is just saying, oh, what are we going to do now? COA is courses of action by that. Quality. Now this is an interesting bit. Enterprise architecture as a whole doesn't have a good story to tell about quality. But from an MSP point of view, it's about looking back whether these things are sufficiently well covered. How are you going about them? And that should be written down in your strategies. Standards information base should be linked to the standards management. So if you haven't got a standards information base, how could you possibly do standards management properly? And again, maturity models. And all of it should be developed and documented in the whole enterprise quality management system or quality management plan, assuming you've got one. Those are the sources for that. This is something I did about 10 years ago. And you can see it's all the same stuff. This was when TOGAF 9 was in development, so this is what I imagined TOGAF 9 would turn out like. Didn't quite turn out like that. And that's MSP 2007 version. But it's basically capabilities change, benefits realization. And around the loop we go, with a lot of stuff in common between the two things. Right. Is there any time for questions and answers? No. No. Quick summary.
Thank you, Ian.
We will have a